I think one of the things that we have to remember is whether it be from employment rights to your right to holiday pay, right to equality, the right to equal pay, they are not some kind of magical thing that has been gifted to us by the EU. These were hard-won rights in Britain. Many of them existed before the EU came about. The fact that they are guaranteed in EU legislation doesn't mean that they're going to simply disappear when Britain votes to leave. In fact, they'll be more accountable to us. We'll have more control. What we saw in Greece was that the EU was very quick to sacrifice workers' rights the second it was convenient continuing on the European project. I think we need to be very careful here that we imagine that our politicians who we hold to account, the politicians who are saying that they're going to be in charge after this referendum come what may, are somehow suggesting that these rights will be at risk. Do we really have so little faith in the people who govern us that we actually have to ensure the rights that are guaranteed by people who are totally unaccountable to us, who are unelected? And what's important is that these rights, as I said, were driven by the hard work of people already in the country making that case for increased workers' rights, equal pay. I think it's very depressing to see Remain campaigners suggest that actually we would never have done that were it not for somehow this plentiful EU. The working directive has been very good for a lot of employees, but it's also been incredibly bad for our NHS. That's why prominent Remain campaigners like David Cameron said they needed to make those changes. That was meant to be in the renegotiation. It's just another example of a promise that David Cameron made but then gave up on the renegotiation. If he believes that the Working Time Directive is bad for the NHS, he should say so and should be accountable. If we think it's a great idea, we should be able to actually keep it in place. We shouldn't have those kind of decisions delegated to Brussels where decisions over them are simply out of our reach and are unaccountable. And nor is that why we signed up to the EU in the first place. We signed up in the EU for economic reasons, not because it would govern every aspect of our lives. And you know what? Sometimes the EU gets it wrong. They put on a huge burden on small businesses, and that's really bad. In fact, not only does it increase costs, but sometimes businesses don't even get off the ground because of it. That ends up costing jobs. If we want to have a fairer society, a society where people's rights are guaranteed, but also where we get to spend our money on our priorities, I think the only safe option in this referendum is to vote leave.